Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Joining me in studio as we look ahead to 2018, another candidate for office, and joining me in studio, Judge Dib Waldrip, running for Court of Criminal Appeals. Welcome to the show, Judge.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, tell folks, I guess first, just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in New Braunfels, Texas, and after college became a police officer and went to law school. And after that, helped work my way through law school, being a police officer as well through college and also law school. Ranched and farmed a little bit, and came on up here after law school to Amarillo. Worked at the Court of Appeals, and then took another stint down in El Paso as staff counsel at their Court of Appeals, and eventually became district attorney in New Braunfels. I was there for 10 years before. Now I've been on the bench for 11 years, and there's an opportunity to run for Place 8, which is going to be an open seat on the top criminal bench in the state of Texas, the last word in criminal matters. I've been board certified in criminal law, having done over 100 felony jury trials personally myself, but been board certified since 1995, and I'm going to look to just increase the excellence and honesty there at the court.
Well, and you and I were talking before we went on the air about the race and just about judicial races overall. It's something that a lot of people, a lot of voters probably, they don't pay a lot of attention to. The average voter does not pay a lot of attention to judicial races. For Court of Criminal Appeals, there are probably a lot of folks who go, "Oh, I'm never going to get, I never need to be involved in that, so I don't need to worry about it." But you were saying this is a very important race that people need to be aware of.
It is very important. Crime affects everybody day in and day out, more so than any slip and fall, any contract dispute that's going to end up at the Texas Supreme Court, whether it's your cost of living or whether it's your safety and security in your home, in your neighborhood. Crime affects us day in and day out, and ergo, or as a result, everybody needs to certainly pay attention to making sure that the most credentialed, the highest qualified people are making their way to the bench. And it's not just credentials from the past, but it's values and virtues of the present. And that's another thing that I can certainly talk about just in regard to my Christian conservative roots, having been born again since January 21st, 1979. I remember the day that the Lord pricked my heart and took hold of me, and I trust in Him, and it's where my faith lies, and it's from that that I come to the table wanting to be as open, as vulnerable, as transparent as possible. It's the easiest way to live and move forward, and so that's what that's what guides my feet, the lamp to my feet as I move forward today and tomorrow.
What, when it comes to, I guess you could say qualifications, or just what would you bring to that position if elected, and what would you bring to that position over everyone else in the race?
Well, neither of my opponents are board certified in criminal law. There are many intricacies and nuances in the criminal law, the details of criminal law that nobody really has an opportunity or should even need to be aware of. But those things ultimately can twist and turn a case one way or the other. And it's those things that I will bring to the table and be able to be intellectually honest about and forthright about, and that many of my opponents won't have. Neither of my opponents are board certified in criminal law. Neither of my opponents, even combined, can't come close to 100 felony jury trials that I've personally done. I have also been to the FBI Academy. Governor Bush sent me in 2000 when he had nominated me prior to 2000, but I ended up going in 2000. Also, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, former Chief Justice Wallace Jefferson, has endorsed me. He's personally been in my courtroom, worked in my courtroom after he left the Supreme Court, and has seen me at work and trusted my ability. He's given me his endorsement, which I'm very thankful. As well as I've been the Prosecutor of the Year, named by the Texas Narcotics Officers Association in '95. Just again, a lot of other I've had the experiences across the board that neither of my opponents have had, whether it's being a police officer, whether it's being an elected district attorney, whether it's being an elected judge for 11 years. One of my opponents is an elected judge, but also having been at the courts of appeals, had the entire broad range of the experience as well. In New Braunfels, if we got the conviction, we were just small enough in the DA's office that I also had to do the appeals to maintain that conviction. And so we didn't have a separate appellate section. So I've done probably, 50 or 60 at least appeals in that regard of the trials that I did. But at the courts of appeals in both Amarillo and El Paso, that's exactly what I did every day. Probably ghost wrote for the judges on those benches over about a 3-year period of time. I don't know, 400 or 500 opinions.
Yeah. You can visit your website, Judge Dib Waldrip.com, and people can find out more information on your website about you, correct?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for stopping by the studio.
We appreciate it and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas as well as a Happy New Year and 4 or 5 bale to the acre cotton.
All right. Judge, thanks for stopping by today.
You.
Chad Hasty Show, KFYO.